Live from the 607 is the ODPH Entertainment Edition, where we're talking movies, comics, TV, and more. Why don't you join in the conversation? Hashtag ODPH, because here we go. Welcome to another edition of the ODPH Entertainment Edition. I am your host, Ken M. Sitting across from me this week is the one, the only, Padawan J.
Hello, hello, hello.
Folks, we have a lot to discuss. Let's waste no more time. Join us on the social media conversation because we want to hear from you with the hashtag ODPHEE. The biggest news story of the week had to be the big shock that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has been renewed.
Before the new season even airs.
Exactly, by ABC.
This is like some Netflix type stuff.
Now, this is kind of, like we say, this is very left field. We did not see this coming by any means because ABC had been very public about they were on the fence if they were even going to renew Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for this coming summer.
If memory serves, they didn't do it until after the season was basically already done.
Right. They more or less wrote this past season's finale as the series finale.
Right, because at that point, even when they were writing it and filming it, it was still so up in the air that they had no idea.
Right, so as Season 5 ended, Season 6 was announced at the 11th hour for coming back as a it almost sounds like a mid-season replacement, but it's just a summer series of 13 episodes coming out in the summer of 2019. So, Pat, let me ask you this. When you heard this news, what was your gut reaction to this?
Holy cow, totally left field because, like we said, the announcement that they were even doing season 6 was so 11th hour, and I remember reading in a couple places that, like, up until that point, it could go either way. There was some heavy doubts that it was ever going to come back for another season. So to come across Facebook that, hey, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is getting season 7 before season 6 even airs, I was like, okay.
I have to agree. I did not see this one coming. Now, I am very, very, very excited because if you were somebody that gave up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. early, I can't stress enough to give it another shot, especially if you were somebody that maybe jumped off ship before Season 4. Season 4, they really hit their stride.
Yes.
I will say that is the best season they have done. That is the one with Ghost Rider and Welcome to the Mainframe and, Life Model Decoy.
Yep.
I'm blanking because there's just so much awesomeness that happened in that season.
Yeah.
And obviously how Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. came out the gate. That was coming out on the heels of the Avengers' success.
Yeah.
And Phil Coulson lived through the events of the Avengers movie. And they were really pushing that point, I think, which hurt the show at its early beginning. Because season 1 was all like, hey, did you know we were in the Avengers? Hey, you know about the Avengers?
And I think that was part of what hurt it to a certain degree. Because you hear Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and you know S.H.I.E.L.D. is so closely at that point tied in with the Avengers. I think a lot of people were almost expecting to see Robert Downey Jr., Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans to show up on like a bi-weekly basis.
Yeah, it almost had that feel to it. I mean, granted, they did get a Samuel L. Jackson cameo early on in the show.
I feel like you had to, though, just to kind of establish it. And at that point, he's still running S.H.I.E.L.D. You had to at that point.
Yeah, you needed to keep ties into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And they did it very well, albeit, though, and I do say this out loud many times, Season 1, to me, did not hit its stride until the Captain America 2 episode, which was near the end of the season. Because before that, all the characters were very cookie-cutter. Yeah. And what I mean by that is they all were... I honestly could not tell who was who, with the exception of Melinda May, who was the only standout character at that time. Everybody else was... I don't want to say eating scenery, but it kind of was, because you didn't really know what their personalities were, and they didn't really stand out, and everybody kind of meshed together.
There were a couple moments that kind of stood out where they kind of developed some characters that I remember the one episode, I think it was called Bzz or something to that effect, where Simmons jumped out of a plane and Fitz freaked the you-know-what-else, kind of establishing that, okay, they're more than just friends and coworkers. There's a little something going on there.
Yeah, which they really kind of steered away from the beginning of the season, and they kind of ushered it in toward more later. But as Season 1 progressed, they finally hit their stride of the Captain America 2 episode.
Yeah.
Probably because that had the strongest connection to the MCU at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Because prior to they were teasing, a connection to Thor the Dark World, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't.
It was a connection into Thor the Dark World insofar as they went to the same location in London where Thor 2 took place, but it was like a couple hours afterwards.
Right. So it really, I would say it was a letdown.
Yeah.
That one was.
Yeah.
I mean,
because I was excited for that one because they're like, oh, hey, next week's episode's going to tie into Thor 2. And I was like, oh, wow, that'll be interesting. I've never seen something like that before.
yeah, and it just kind of fell off.
Yeah.
But as they finally hit their stride, season 2 was a definitive upgrade. They finally introduced a new cast on the show, which the chemistry between all the new actors and the established Shield Guard really worked well and really connected. I mean, Trip is still my favorite one on the show, and obviously what happened, still always remember Trip. But my point is with this is they finally got going, and every season they progressed a little more and more, even to the point where they tried doing Jonathan Hickman's Secret Warriors storyline.
Yeah.
When they tied into a little with the Inhumans. Now, at the time, Marvel was really pushing that as the new X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we all know about the series. We are not fans of the series Inhumans. I think that's probably one of their biggest miscues they've done thus far.
I'd say it's the biggest miscue.
Yeah, it's debatable. Iron Fist Season 1 on Netflix is up there, too.
Inhumans is worse for me.
I agree, but I've heard online debate about this.
I can understand it.
So you have to interact with us on social media and let us know your opinion. But when they finally hit Season 4 and they finally went to their later time slot, that's when they hit their stride.
Yeah.
They finally, this is the Shield I've been waiting for.
Yeah.
Because they've been getting progressively better. And like I said, every season they get better. And they finally hit it. 4 was like, okay, this is the blueprint. This is how the show needs to be from now. Season 5, like we said, they got moved off the Tuesday night time slot to Friday nights. Wasn't sure what to expect. They went back to the alien element with the Kree. Mm-hmm. Kind of mixed. It was a good season. It finally hit the stride later.
Yeah, it took a little longer. It was a slow burn.
Right, but they were doing some time jumping. They were doing a lot of question marks. I remember Pat and I went to the New York Comic-Con panel that year, and they were showing the footage.
Yeah.
And for the season premiere, months before it was coming out, and we're like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, because it was enough to okay, we're continuing what you already know, and we're gonna show you right up until we're gonna show you something real definitive, and then we're gonna cut it off on you.
Right, but they finally hit their stride though mid-season 5. And I feel when they finally came back to the 616 universe, they were done being in the future and all that nonsense, and they just tied everything well together. And then you saw the ending of the story of Phil Coulson to what we think, without going too spoilerish here. Now, with the season being renewed, and we knew it was going to be a short season, the fact that they've guaranteed a season 7 on ABC, so this is not going to Disney Plus.
No.
This is going to be on ABC. Where do we think the story goes from here?
I have no idea, but what it tells me is because, without being a guru or a psychic, they're filming. Their episodes are in the can. So that would mean ABC has seen things. So ABC loves what they're seeing.
Yeah, I believe they had some shakeup in their office structure. So I think that might have something to do with it. I'm not 100% sure. Hit me up on the social media and correct me if I'm wrong. But if I'm not mistaken, they did have some shakeup a little bit. I don't know if that ties in with this.
Maybe.
But you would think, because it was such just a long, drawn-out ordeal to renew Agents.
Yeah, abnormally so for a TV show.
Right. The fact that they got renewed, albeit both seasons coming out are going to be 13 episodes.
Right.
So it's not a full season order. But the fact they're doing 2 tends me to think that they are either going to build up for the next Avengers phase, or they're going to just kind of do it as a branch out to another show.
Maybe they're building up to another Avengers tie-in, because the thing with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is outside of, not Civil War, Winter Soldier, they haven't really tied into the Marvel stuff before. And I know people have brought this up with the Netflix stuff as well, where, the Netflix series referenced the event. Obviously the Battle of New York. Obviously we know the Battle of New York already took place in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think they might be building up to an eventual tie-in with that, because barring them mentioning, hey, why are these random people missing, they really haven't tied into anything with the Avengers in a while.
Right. Well, I mean, the one thing is Avengers 4 will be out before Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. comes back for Season 6.
Yep.
So I don't think there's going to be any direct connection between those.
Right.
I don't. I'm just wondering if this is going to be the, phase, the next Marvel phase, entry level point.
Could be.
This is going to be, okay, the stat quo is now established after Avengers. Where do we go from here? Obviously, we are not expecting Phil Coulson back.
No.
As of right now.
As nice as it would be, right now, no.
As of right now, no, we're not expecting him back. And you'll see if you haven't watched the episode, you can catch up on the season finale, and you'll have an idea that why we're thinking he's not coming back.
Mm-hmm.
But with everybody else that has been announced, the cast is remaining basically intact from last season.
Yeah.
So going in with that, and depending on what the next phase is going to be with Marvel, this is really telling that ABC is putting some faith back into the show. Now, the show has been doing so-so with the ratings. I think everybody was expecting it to be a ratings juggernaut.
Right.
And it hasn't been, but like we already...
It's been good.
But like we've already established, I think more mainstream fans were thinking the Avengers, Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, were going to be on every week. And then once they realized, oh, wait, it's not?
Yeah.
Then maybe they got turned off a little bit. And that happens.
It's got its core group of fans, but it's not going to do, Walking Dead in its prime numbers.
No, not as of yet, but there's such a strong fan base with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, yeah.
That will stick with it through and through, as they should. The show is very, very good
if
you haven't seen it. And like we say, it's gotten better every season. So now, with a 13-episode season, and then depending on how they wrote this one, see, that's another factor we haven't talked about. They've already filmed season 6, if I'm not mistaken, or they're in the process of it.
Right.
But the fact they now know they're coming back for a 7th when they decide to end season 6, that's going to be a really telling point, too.
Plus, the thing with this upcoming season and season 7 is it might not be a full episode order, but the thing you see this a lot in TV where, pick a show. None in the recent history can come to mind, but like there have been shows that like it's not a full order, but then it gets a couple weeks in or a couple months in, and it's doing real good in the ratings. It's doing real good online and social media, and the network, ABC, Fox, NBC, CBS, hey, you know what? Why don't we pick up a full order and it's like another however many episodes?
Right, which would make a lot of sense. I think if Agents has warranted that, it definitely deserves a full season. It just depends on what night they're going to air it, because we don't know. They still might be on Friday nights. They might be getting moved.
Well, and plus the thing is it's coming back in the summer. Summer's always a little funky when it comes to, the Big Four scheduling. It's not, there are a couple shows on the Big Four, but it's a lot of like game show summary. If you catch it, great. If you don't, okay.
Right. So with this being said, though, Agents coming back is a huge deal.
Yes.
Huge on so many different levels. Like I say, I think it's going to usher in the next Marvel phase. I have a feeling it's going to tie into Secret Invasion.
Ooh.
I think the fact that you're seeing Skrulls in Captain Marvel when the movie comes out, and that's no spoiler.
No.
If you've seen the trailer, you know that's what's happening.
I'll say if you've seen the trailer and the pictures.
Right. And obviously they have a tie into the Kree alien race too.
Yep.
And if you know Marvel history, there is a very, very civil war in outer space between the Kree and the Skrull.
Could they be going towards maybe introducing stuff in future Marvel movies with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
I would like to think so.
I mean, like, for an example, X-Men. The whole mutant aspect of it, or something to that effect. We're like, okay, they introduced Kree, they had Kree show up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and we're going to see Kree in the movies. Could it be a light introduction that, like, okay, they reference it, but if you didn't see that, it's not the biggest deal?
I think it all depends on when the episodes are filming and when the deal is finalized with Marvel. Now, we know it's January 1st. All signs are pointing to being signed, sealed, delivered.
Right, and the latest news was that government of China basically gave it the green lit.
Right. So the fact is, as soon as that deal goes through, I think you are going to hear mutant get mentioned on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Like 1,000 times.
Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be something they're going to definitely introduce. I think, though, with the Captain Marvel, and like I said, my gut instinct is they're going Secret Invasion for the next movie phase.
That could be.
At least for part of it, anyway.
Yeah.
I think if they go that route, Agents is going to have a very big part in it.
Maybe we'll see some of the agents show up in the actual movie. That'd be cool.
Well, it's about time. I think for what Marvel's doing, and I guess my only complaint really about Avengers Infinity War is there wasn't a connection. You couldn't show like a cameo of like the Netflix universe.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't show a connection to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, obviously, I think it all depends on what timing they were filming. But either way, if you bring in agents, and now with the vote of confidence, because that's the only way I see this move happening, is you have now given agents a vote of confidence. Even if it's a mid-season replacement, you're still saying the show is still adding value and still very important to the MCU overall.
Yeah.
Because I think if it was going to get canceled, I could almost guarantee it was going to go to Disney Plus.
Oh, yeah.
Almost guarantee.
Oh, yeah.
It, without question.
Because Disney wanted another season of it. ABC was the one who was kind of gun shy.
Yeah, so the fact that they flipped on it, I mean, is very good for the fans, but it's also bringing up a lot of questions. I think that they really have some high hopes for what the season can do. Albeit, though, it's going to be very different without Clark Gregg on screen.
It's going to be weird, but it's going to be kind of like Walking Dead without Rick Grimes. Weird at first, but we might get used to it.
Well, I think we have to. We really don't have a choice unless they decide to somehow bring him back.
That could be.
Obviously, with the events of what happened in season 5.
It's a comic TV show. It can happen.
Oh, absolutely. With Marvel, nobody stays dead unless you're Uncle Ben.
Cough, cough. Well, that's true. Cough, cough, Wolverine, though.
We'll get into that later in the show because that's another story. But overall, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is returning. We want to know what you think. Hit us up on that hashtag ODPHEE. We're excited, but how about you? We want to know. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is George Gatton, and you are listening to the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour Entertainment Edition.
Coming back for segment number 2 on this week's ODPH Entertainment Edition. Now, the latest trailer for Aquaman has been released.
Uh-huh.
Coinciding with tickets, I believe, are now on sale.
And the pre-sales are doing huge numbers.
Holy
crap.
Can't even speak about that enough. I'm breaking all types of records
now.
I
saw it beat Infinity War, and it beat, if I'm not mistaken, Venom.
Yeah, which Venom was out of nowhere, too. But this one, I gotta say, I'm very happy to see.
Uh-huh.
Because with the DC EU or Worlds of DC, however you want to describe the DC cinematic universe, this has to be a huge win thus far.
Uh-huh.
Because of how messy the Henry Cavill situation has been.
Yeah.
Whatever the heck is going on with Ben Affleck and Batman and that whole situation.
Mm-hmm.
Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman film has been pushed back.
For whatever reason.
For whatever reason, we don't know. So for Aquaman to be doing as well, and let's face it, it is Aquaman.
Yeah.
This is going to either be a home run or it's going to be a strikeout.
Mm-hmm.
Because Aquaman, not exactly the DC Trinity.
No.
But he is definitely a well-known hero.
Butt of a lot of jokes. Cough, cough, Family Guy.
Yes. You can go online. You can find a lot of Aquaman memes and family jokes or Family Guy jokes and so forth. So they have found a way, at least in the trailers, to make him look like a complete badass.
Yeah, their version of Thor, I would say.
I would say, too. And we finally, the latest and final trailer has been released.
Mm-hmm.
Pad, what was your thoughts on that?
I like the trailer. Very cool. Didn't know Willem Dafoe was in the movie. That was out of left field.
Yeah, that flew under my radar. I did not realize he was in that as well.
No.
He appears to be an Atlantean soldier of some sort, or he's training.
Relative or something. He knows Arthur Aquaman from a very young age, and I love the scene at the beginning where Aquaman's at the cliff and with Mera, and he goes, "Oh, this is where I was first shown how to swim," and it shows like a brief glimpse of that scene, and it's like, yeah, basically Willem Dafoe tossed Aquaman off like a 1,000-foot cliff.
Yeah,
here you go, kids, swim.
Yeah, it almost reminded me of when Richard Rider was reactivated with his Nova powers in New Warriors 1.
Yeah.
So for that being said, though, the rest of the trailer really was showing the background of Aquaman, which we hadn't really seen a lot of thus far. They've been kind
hints of it,
little bits and pieces, and you obviously see Nicole Kidman as Aquaman's mother, and just raising him as a young kid and talking about the prophecy that he would be the one to unite the surface world with the underwater world of Atlantis, and they are doing it through whoever wields the trident would be the one to either have the great power to unite everybody, or if it was in the wrong hands, tear everybody apart.
Yep.
They have been showing Ocean Master, which is one of Aquaman's biggest rogues, and he has the trident at some point. He's arguing with somebody about it, and basically he's taken over Atlantis at this stage, from what we're getting the feel from. So Aquaman and Mera, his wife, have been kind of going back and forth about how Aquaman needs to be the one to save Atlantis.
Right, because the vibe I'm getting off of the trailers is Aquaman wants something has gone on because there's one shot in the trailer where it's like almost like a Rocky training montage where it's him as a kid and him as adult, him as a kid, him as an adult. And at some point along the line, and this was without me knowing the story, at some point along the line, it seems like something happened, and he got turned off to the whole thought of being king of Atlantis and uniting the two worlds, because he almost wants no part of it.
He kind of has that vibe that something has happened that he just really wants nothing to do with it. Mm-hmm. And I kind of have the feeling that has ties into, they should keep showing a battle scene with Nicole Kidman.
Right.
And it's the lighthouse that she is staying in where Aquaman is growing up. I feel it has something to do with that.
Could be.
I'm not exactly sure what per se. And like I said, I haven't really dug into it too much because I'm trying to go into this movie with a complete open mind about Aquaman. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, the Jeff Johns run, which they're borrowing a lot from, is going to tie into this as well.
Right.
I know Brad Guy Signal talks about that run all the time. I've heard nothing but amazing things of that run.
So have I.
So to see what they're implementing, and I know we've seen Ocean Master in this trailer. I believe we saw Black Manta for just a second.
It's more of the same shots you saw from the last trailer, where it's some Mediterranean-looking town, and he's shooting off the laser beams.
Right. So you're seeing that they're going to put a lot into this, which that's my only fear right now going into the movie. Is they're adding so much because they want it to be so much of a home run that you're almost kind of setting yourself up for, like, what can we do for the sequel?
See, the thing of it is, though, is I get that and I understand that. I feel like there have been enough instances in the past with comic book movies where they do too much, where, okay, there's been enough history with this that we know not to repeat these tropes. So we're going to kind of go towards them, but we're going to, learn from them and go on the right path.
Right, which I hope that they figure out because, like we keep reiterating on the show, DC needs a home run with this.
Yeah.
If they somehow bomb with this one, this just tanks at the box office after opening week, the future of the DC films is really going to be up in the air.
It's going to be hard to come back from.
Really hard to come back from. Not saying it's impossible, but they do have a lot of momentum coming from San Diego Comic-Con, where they were dropping trailers left and right, and the fans were very excited. And you could hear on the past episodes when we were talking about it. Yeah. I saw the trailer. I'm like, okay, this is going to be something. Because we really didn't know what they were going to do. I mean, obviously, Jason Momoa stole every scene he was in Justice League.
My man.
Exactly. He definitely set the precedent that this wasn't going to be the old pushover Aquaman, so to speak.
Sure.
That there's going to be a lot more to him. And as we see when the trailer is going on, we now have an idea what the plot is going to be, that he is going back to Atlantis to save it, and he has to find the trident, which is going to give him the power, or dare I say, the notoriety of being the king of Atlantis, so to speak. And then that is going to be pretty much the saga of the film. The one other thing that I could not, say enough nice things about is the CGI.
Holy cow.
For underwater and all the different creatures we have seen. Now, we've seen the trench, if you know Aquaman's history. We've seen them in the previous trailer. I didn't really see too much of them in this one.
No.
But just the different characters and just different creatures we've seen underwater. This is now giving Atlantis a unique feel.
Yes.
That I think is perfect because they need to. If this was just underwater and we just saw the typical Aquaman talking to sharks or talking to fish, I don't think it would work. But now you're seeing the different elements of what's underwater and what's truly in Atlantis, making it its own separate universe.
Right, because the thing of it is this isn't just, conveniently where we're filming, there's birds in the background, there's this in the background. No, this is like, you need to have this be a living, breathing environment, where it's not just, there's a group of people and there's just conveniently no fish around. Right. No, it's the exact opposite. This looks like a living, breathing environment.
Yeah, which they needed to do because this just has such a unique feel to it, especially from DC, which everybody criticizes it for being too dark and just.
This looks real trippy in a sort of way.
Yeah, it does. But you know what? For being Aquaman, they need it to stand out. They need it to be different, even if it does look trippy and there's a lot of watercolors. No pun intended. But I bet you it's supposed to be there for a reason.
Yeah.
That this just adds to it, and this just gives it such a flair that this is just really saying this isn't going to be your typical DC film.
No.
That this is going to be maybe not lighthearted. I don't know how it's going to exactly go.
I think it's going to be lighthearted just for the sheer fact that it's Jason Momoa.
Right, which you're going to see him not be the noble king of Atlantis right away. You're going to see him inherit the role, and I believe there's such a line that Mera is saying to him about what Atlantis needs, and Jason Momoa goes, what does it need other than a king? And she says a hero. Mm-hmm. And then that was the selling point, that this is now going to be his I don't want to say his born again saga, so to speak, to
Right.
copy Daredevil, but
Right.
he's now going to find his with great power comes great responsibility line. And I think for everything we saw in the trailer, I still think it looks good. The only thing, but granted, we were going to see it anyway, that I got to knock just a hair. He is in his full Aquaman costume.
Yeah.
Did we need to see that? Because it almost seems like that was the ending to the film.
I mean, I feel like it's been on the promotional posters.
It
and
has
such.
been. It has been. No, I understand that, but I just kind of look at it and go, like, maybe we should try keeping that, hidden
Yeah.
for right now. I mean, granted, I'm not mad about it because I am kind of glad because his other costume he had in Justice League was definitely not an Aquaman costume.
I can't even remember the costume he had in that movie, to be honest.
It was almost like Atlantean armor.
Oh, okay.
Almost like it. So to see him in the traditional Aquaman costume, I think was a very cool touch.
Yeah.
And going forward with the film, I'm excited to see it. I can't believe it's already 3 weeks away, I believe.
Something like that, yeah.
Or just shy of a month as
just,
we're recording.
just under a month.
Which is crazy to think about. That DC has got this monster film coming out. There's no Star Wars film.
Nope.
The only thing Marvel has coming out is Into the Spider-Verse.
Yep.
How crazy is it that DC is going to have arguably its best film sneak into the bottom of 2018 and set the precedent for 2019, going face-to-face with Captain Marvel and Avengers if DC can just make a little notoriety? How strong of that is for that studio moving forward?
Very strong and very huge. I'm also very excited for this film. I haven't read anything into the spoilers or what the story is. The one thing I keep reading in spoiler-free stuff is that, one, it's testing very well. Now, it can test the best movie of all time. Whether that translate into the actual showing, we'll see. Other thing I keep reading from a bunch of places that don't go into spoilers is that there is a scene in the movie that they're comparing to Bring Me Thanos.
Okay.
And I'm like, I don't know what it is. I don't want to know what it is, but holy crap, I want to see it, because that scene in Avengers Infinity War was incredible. If they can recreate that same type of feeling where, like, that was one of the, 3 times in my life I've been in a theater and everyone cheered and applauded in the middle of a movie and I got goosebumps, I'm all for it.
Yeah, no, this one looks like it's going to be a home run, and we're very, very excited to go see it. And for DC, this has to be just a real home run for them if it does well at the box office.
Yeah.
That's going to be the true telling point, because everything has looked great thus far. But until you get to the theaters and actually see it. And the only thing that I'm fearing right now with it is they're just throwing so much into it to make it a home run that certain characters are going to get pushed on the wayside. And then, all right, as long as they don't have a really super big role that they can come back for the sequel,
Sure.
then I'll be okay with it. Because I just don't want to see them burn Ocean Master, Black Manta, and The Trench all in the first film, and then we go, all right, who's here for the sequel?
I don't think they'll burn through them all in the first movie. If it's like any other comic movie, they're building to something.
Right, which would make a lot of sense. And I think they're going in that direction. But like I say, just everything I've seen with the trailer, that's my only knock right now.
Sure.
Just because I really want to see this film do well. Because I want to see every comic book film do well.
Yeah.
And obviously, if Worlds of DC can start taking off and give the MCU a little run for the money, all the better. But let us know what you think. Hit us up with that hashtag ODPHEE. What's your thoughts on the latest Aquaman trailer? We want to know. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
2, 3, 4. Hey, this is Johnny Moose from Excite Wrestling, and you're listening to the ODPH. I didn't mess it up. I thought I would. Right now, back to the guys.
Coming back for another segment on this week's ODPH Entertainment Edition, and there's a big movie coming out at the box office. Not exactly a comic book one, but still, this is very, very, very awesome to see.
And highly anticipated.
Yes, because if you know us from our other show, we do the flagship ODPH, we talk boxing on there when there's a big fight. And when there's a big boxing movie, we're going to talk about it on here.
This is true.
And Creed 2 is coming out this week at the box office. Now, I have to admit, I am a huge fan of the Rocky movies. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I don't care for 5 and 6. I will be the first one to tell you.
Sure.
But if you don't know the story of Rocky Balboa and the rise, being the ultimate underdog who gets his title shot to fight the champion Apollo Creed in Rocky 1, is a very good movie. Rocky 2 is a typical Hollywood movie. You can already kind of figure out how it ends.
Yep.
3 is when he goes through and he's facing Mr. T, if you know from the 1980s TV show, The A-Team.
Yep.
And obviously you kind of see that he's now working with Apollo Creed to kind of become a better fighter. And Rocky 4, which we are talking a little spoilers here if you're not familiar with the show.
It's been out long enough.
But it's been out long enough. I don't feel I need to give the disclaimer.
No.
But Rocky 4 is when we're introduced to Ivan Drago.
I break you.
Yes, who is over in the Soviet Union, who challenges Apollo Creed and kills him in the ring. Just because of the sheer brutality of boxing.
And because he can.
Yes, well, he wants Rocky Balboa, but Apollo Creed steps up because he wants a comeback fight. And obviously, he is just completely outmatched and outclassed.
In the worst way possible.
In the worst way. But Rocky decides to go over to train in Russia, and he's fighting. You can see the crazy montage, and they have the fight. And obviously, it's well known for the actual fight and the post-fight speech where Rocky essentially ends the Cold War.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to see.
Mm-hmm.
They should have ended the series there. They did 2 more after that. I don't much care to talk about them. I'll be honest. I don't. I think that they went on too long. So obviously when they decided to come back with the idea of Creed, played by Michael B. Jordan, this one was definitely one that, honestly, at the time, I wasn't sure how they were going to go.
I'll say, when they announced this, I was kind of skeptical because I was like, all right, it's been however many years since any Rocky movie. The last one wasn't well received in any way, shape, or form. I'm almost, all right, Stallone's writing it. It almost seems like a cash grab. Let's wait and see.
Yeah, and I mean, essentially, it's the story of Adonis Creed, who is Apollo's son that he didn't know he had.
Yep.
And it's just his rise to, he wants to become a boxer and really kind of take the family mantle, and he gets connected with Rocky Balboa, and they go from there. So obviously, when they announced Creed 2, and they announced Victor Drago, it ties into Rocky 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to applaud him on this because, honestly, I wasn't thinking they were going to try making this like a Rocky cinematic universe.
No.
But I'm okay with this. I'm perfectly fine with this.
I fully expected them to like reference things and kind of refer to things and talk about memories and this and that. But no, at no point watching Creed did I ever think, I wonder what happened if Ivan Drago had a kid and he came up and fought Creed's kid.
Yes, because especially they never really discussed what happened after that fight, except Rocky was heavily damaged.
Yeah, I mean, Rocky even says it in the one trailer where he broke things in me that have never been fixed.
Yeah, and it's just crazy to see that they're keeping up with that timeline. I mean, that's essentially what retired Rocky, and then you can kind of go into 5 and 6 if you really want to know what happens. But we're going to stay into the Creed universe.
Sure.
Because I don't even want to talk about 5 and 6 in any shape, way, or form. But now going into this, we see that Victor Drago has challenged our Michael B. Jordan's character into having a rematch.
Sure.
And Rocky is screaming at the top of his lungs, like, do not take this fight.
Yeah.
He's telling Adonis Creed, don't do this because you don't know you're not ready for this.
I'll say it's not just Rocky, it's everybody's telling him no.
Right, because that is what essentially, I mean, that killed his father.
Yeah.
And it's just the storyline behind it. And obviously, if they're going to do a sequel to Creed, I'm glad they're doing this because I think it ties nicely into the Rocky mythos.
Sure.
And obviously, you're basing it on Carl Weathers' character of Apollo Creed. So you want to see Adonis Creed, what he does with his legacy.
Yeah.
And it becomes the battle of, is he ready for it? And obviously, with the trailers we've seen, he's out it appears in the desert training.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a different, complete workout. And he's just become basically obsessed with the idea of avenging his father, and everybody's telling him you're hearing other close friends and family telling me it's not about that, it's you're wanting to do this for your own reasons, and you're just kind of seeing the build up to the fight. Now, Pad, I will say this, since you have only seen the Rockies movies a couple times.
Yeah.
What is your thoughts on after seeing this trailer? Are you excited to see this or not?
I'm definitely interested to see this because from what I remember when Ivan Drago was introduced, they really didn't give a whole lot of backstory into the guy. And even going into this, you really don't know where he's been and what he is. And I'm always a big fan of, like, when you go and do movies later in a timeline of a movie universe and you bring in, former foes or former allies or what have you. What have they been doing since that time? What have they been up to? So I'm very much interested to see kind of what happened to Ivan Drago after Rocky beat him. Did he kind of go back and just start knocking people's heads off as a way of frustration? Did he kind of go into a secluded, sort of looking internally and really build up the anger, and in turn he turned that anger onto his son, and that's why the son challenged Creed. I'm really curious to see what happened in that space of time.
I agree too, because it was one thing that Ivan Drago character, who was played by Dolph Lundgren, who they got back for this movie too, by the way, which is awesome.
Yep.
The fact that we never really heard what happened to him after, they just kind of said he lost the fight, which he should have won, and obviously it's a whole different story with that. I'm so excited to hear about the backstory and what happened, and I'm hoping that it's a very cool story, because
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, we really don't know what we're going to expect with this, because it was just something he was doing. And my guess is he had a fall from grace. And obviously, he's been taking his aggression out on, implementing that on his son.
That's my guess, too.
So the fact that his son now wants to fight Adonis Creed is just, it's been building up. And you got to figure that grudge match is how old, and they're keeping it real time. So this isn't like a time jump like The Walking Dead.
No.
This is going to be in real time. So just to see how it plays out, I'm super excited for this. Now, I know a few people that have seen this already, and they say rave reviews.
Yeah.
It's not going to win an Oscar, but it's definitely going to have enough points and enough moments that'll keep you engaged. And really, essentially, that's all I really want from this film. I'm not going into this thinking it needs to win 1 million awards. All I know is Michael B. Jordan is playing the lead character, and he already had me there.
Oh, yeah, and I just want Ivan Drago's kid to not give me nightmares when I see the film, because I was like, okay, Drago's kid, we'll see what he looks like. And then, the trailers come out, and you see what he looks like physically, and that is the scariest you-know-what I've ever seen on film.
Yeah, Florian Munteanu, which I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. If I did not, I do apologize, sir.
Yeah, no kidding. As shredded as he is, I don't want to piss him off.
Right. He just, obviously, he looks the role.
Yeah.
And he looks impressive. I think they were featured in Men's Health, if I'm not too mistaken, an
Okay.
issue ago. Either way, he definitely looks the role, and to see how boxing is kind of coming back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And they've had a couple big fights over the past year or so. Obviously, Canelo, Triple G.
Yep.
To see Rocky kind of have this new resurgence and Creed taking over the role and making his own legacy with it, I think is a cool idea.
Yeah.
You're borrowing little elements, but after this, I don't know what they're going to do for a third, unless they do a rematch, which, depending on how this film ends up, but I don't think it's going to end up, with Creed losing. I just have a feeling. It's if you watch Rocky films, you kind of know what to expect.
I just hope if they do a sequel after this one, it's something original, because I feel like at that point you're running the risk of kind of running it the way Rocky did, where it just kind of feels like rehash in the past. Do something original. It's Stallone. He'll come up with something.
Yeah, I'm sure, because obviously to get this far with the Rocky cinematic universe, it's definitely telling.
Yeah.
And there's always a fan base for it. I mean, just if you've never seen them, I can't recommend them enough. See Rocky 1, 2, 3, and 4. You don't need to see 5 and 6. That's optional. But definitely see Creed, and definitely go check out Creed 2 in the theaters this weekend. Hit us up on that hashtag ODPHEE. Let me know your thoughts of the film. We want to know. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is the King of Lyle, Luke Visengard, Gladius 205 champion, and you're listening to the ODPH.
Coming back for the final segment on this week's ODPH Entertainment Edition. Pat, why don't you kick us off with those one-shots?
Well, this one, I'm talking a little Kingdom Hearts, it is a phrase that came out yesterday on Tuesday as we record that I never thought I'd read. And I never thought I'd type. Tetsuya Nomura, the director of the entire Kingdom Hearts franchise, posted on all of their social media, quote, "Today I'm proud to unveil an extended version of the trailer that has been playing in American cinemas. And guess what? We've wrapped up development of the game. Kingdom Hearts 3 is done."
Oh, boy.
It is done. They're going to start putting it on disc, as going gold, as they like to say in the gaming industry. So it's coming very soon, January 29th. I'm very excited to see it. They put out a couple of trailers, and I know he's teased more trailers coming out this coming month in December, if I'm not mistaken, which is just insane. That it's insane that I've been waiting 13 plus years for this game, and I'm now on the precipice of actually owning it.
Yeah, Pat is going to be probably disappearing from the show when that game comes out. We're going to be lucky if we get him to venture out to do some recordings.
More than likely.
Yes, but Pat, overall though, how would you rate the trailers? Everything leading up to this.
The trailers, they're very much in the same vein of Kingdom Hearts trailers of the past, where they kind of introduce things, they kind of tease things and bring things forward. The most recent trailer, they showed off Winnie the Pooh is making a return. That one's got me concerned because in the trailer, Sora says to Winnie the Pooh, I'll always be here in your heart. So it's almost saying like a goodbye to him, which saying goodbye to Pooh just doesn't seem right. There's also a shot in the most recent Winnie the Pooh trailer where it's all of the heroes facing off what seems to be the new Thousand Heartless battle, which for those of you who played Kingdom Hearts 2, you know what I'm talking about, but it seems like that on steroids where it's just, 10,000 a million. It looks insane and I cannot wait.
So it's pretty much like Disney meets Final Fantasy in an RPG.
Yeah.
And the game finally has the build up.
Yes.
It is done. It will be out 2019.
Yep, January 29th.
Yes. So mark that date down on your calendars.
For PS4 and Xbox.
Can't wait for that. Now, my one shot, I got to talk a little Avengers comic news.
Okay.
Because Avengers 700, or dare I say it's Avengers 10,
Right.
according to the cover.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of moving and shaking going on, but one of the big question marks that hit the interwebs, I guess, so to speak, over the week, is there is a teaser image of Wolverine with the Infinity Gauntlet,
Oh, boy.
which I'm kind of going, okay, this can't be good
No.
on many, many, many levels.
The list of people I would trust to hold the Infinity Gauntlet, Wolverine's not high on that list.
Right. So obviously, when Marvel decided to bring him back from the dead, we knew it was going to be a big deal.
Yeah, they're not just doing this for grins, giggles, and numbers.
No, didn't realize how big of a deal it was.
Yeah.
But now we're kind of getting an idea of what's coming out, because obviously when the new Wolverine Infinity Watch series is released next year, there's going to be a lot of question marks going on.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the things that was addressed in Avengers is basically how is it that Wolverine is there, and yet he's in another series because they're doing the Return of Wolverine series, and he's currently held prisoner, if I'm not mistaken. And it comes to find out that they're borrowing the Wolverine-possessed Phoenix and bringing him into the Avengers. So now there's two more Wolverines running around, but one has the power of the Phoenix.
The Phoenix Force.
Yes. And you factor in that, okay, if this is happening, is the other one going to get the Infinity Gauntlet, or is it going to be this one?
I'm hoping it's this one.
Yes. Because that would just be completely insane that you're giving Wolverine the Phoenix Force and the Infinity Gauntlet. If I'm not talking spoilers, just pick up the issue and you can just get the translation yourself. But my God, like, how insane is this?
That's just the wildest theory. It's like, you hear about comic writers throwing stuff against the wall. Oh, let's try this. It's like the first thought they had, of the wildest thought they had, and Marvel's like, yeah, let's go with it.
Yeah, this is crazy on a bunch of different levels. And if they try making this into a movie,
yes, please.
look out.
Yes, please.
I don't even know where to go with this. This was just like, I totally love what Marvel is now making more of a focus on their comic books right now. And this is the kind of stuff that I don't think we've seen in a while.
No.
From them. And I'm so happy to see it, because they're going out on a ledge. You're getting the WTF moments from me here. And this is what I want to see from them. I mean, the Venom book has been out, that's been killing it. The Hulk comic, which is pretty much a horror comic.
Yeah.
That's been very good. Spider-Man's Reboot, which Pat's talked about many times on the show. I mean, Marvel is just making that sense, just really that drive to make comics again.
It almost feels like that shock factor DC gave us when Darkseid was put with the Justice League.
Yeah.
It's almost that shock factor where, like, you see the image and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, and I'm so happy to see it at Marvel.
Because because let's be real, comics have been around for a long time. Marvel and DC have been around for a long time. It takes a lot for you to really catch a Marvel comic book reader off guard. This does it in the best way possible.
Yeah, because honestly, when I sat there and read this, because they're borrowing from a storyline that Jason Aaron did in Thor, and it's kind of set in the future. So now you're kind of seeing he's tying into both, and I believe you wrote both issues here too. So this makes sense. But still, if Wolverine winds up with the Infinity Gauntlet, let alone if it's the Phoenix Wolverine, look out, Marvel. You're in trouble. That is not even like the biggest event that happened, because there's two heroes that came back that we haven't seen in a while. Spoilers, 3, 2, 1. Phil Coulson is now back running the Squadron Supreme, which is going to get weird. And Blade returns.
Holy cow.
Which I'm interested to see if he does join the Avengers. And now, is this a prelude to what's coming with the movies?
It could be.
I don't know. I'm just going to throw that karma out there, folks.
There hasn't been a Blade movie in a while.
No, there hasn't. Maybe Netflix. Maybe Hulu. Maybe Disney Plus. Probably not Disney Plus.
Could be Disney Plus. No, probably not Disney Plus.
Yeah.
They're sticking straight PG, so probably Netflix.
Maybe not.
Or
there.
Hulu.
But Avengers definitely had their 700 issue. There's a lot to talk about. So go to your local comic book shop and check it out. That's all we got for this week. So for Padawan J,
Thank you.
I'm your host, Ken M. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And thank you as always for listening to the ODPH Entertainment Edition. We'll see you next time.